Hi, this is Alex from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book and record episode to do. Today's book is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, Challenge of the Clones from 1984. So let's get started.
Hello, everyone. This is Gung Ho, one of the G.I. Joe Task Force, and this is your G.I. Joe read-along book. Every time you hear this chime, it means it's time to turn the page in your storybook. Now we are ready to begin. Open your book, and we'll start our adventure. And remember, when you hear the chime, turn the page. One thing about being a member of the G.I. Joe Task Force, you learn to be ready for anything, no matter how bizarre it is. Imagine how surprised we all were as we returned to our headquarters to hear the news on Rock and Roll's radio that several members of the G.I. Joes were identified as the robbers who broke into the Second National Bank the day before. The crooks got away with $500,000, and everyone was blaming us. Scarlett turned on the television, and there was the bank manager positively identifying Grunt, Doc, and Zap as the thieves, and Clutch as the driver of the getaway car. They showed their pictures on TV, and then I saw one of me. Well, that did it. Now I was starting to get mad. And police or no police, no one's going to accuse the G.I. Joes of doing anything dishonest. Something funny was going on here. Before long, Breaker received an urgent radio call from Hawk's office in Washington. He had read the newspapers and couldn't believe his eyes. The G.I. Joes, common criminals? We all assured him that a big mistake was being made, and that we were all on a top-secret mission at the time of the robbery. He suggested that we stay in hiding until the real crooks were caught. But when the newscaster announced a second robbery by the G.I. Joes, we decided to bend his rules just a little. Doc, Snowjob, and Snake Eyes decided to take a ride into town to do some investigating on their own. Stalker said he might have a lead on this case already, and Breaker sat back behind the radio and the radar screens and blew a big bubble of his chewing gum. Everything stayed quiet, too quiet, for hours, until suddenly, Breaker burst into the mess hall with the news that he was picking up an unidentified radar blip, streaking through the sky at incredible speed, away from the scene of the latest robbery. The path of the UFO carried it to an unnamed location, somewhere in the state of Vermont. Then, the radar signals disappeared. If we could discover the Vermont location of the speeding unidentified object, we might be able to figure out the connection between it and the strange robberies that everybody was blaming on the G.I. Joes. In no time, Wild Bill had the engines of the turbocopter fired up and was on his way to do a little flying and a little photography, too, over Vermont. Hovering high above the large military-like fortress and using super magnification telescopes and infrared lenses, Wild Bill could read the sign in front clearly. It said, Vermont Cloning Institute. He snapped a few photographs, and then he noticed it out of the corner of his eye. A Cobra Command missile coming right at him. coordination Wild Bill could muster to maneuver out of the deadly missile's way. Back at the base, it was Scarlet who figured out that the VCI, Vermont Cloning Institute, was making clones, actual copies of us, the G.I. Joes, and making them pretend to be us doing these terrible robberies. And what would they have our clones do next? The VCI was definitely part of the Cobra Commander's evil plan for world domination. Hawk thought that Snake Eye's plan to attack the Cloning Institute was unnecessarily violent, but Grunt and Steeler were ready to go. Hawk kept insisting that we should all just slow down and wait for Cobra Commander to make the next move. He was talking kind of funny and had a glazed look in his eyes. Suddenly, he made a quick motion toward his gun. Stalker grabbed him, and by now we knew this wasn't Hawk. This was one of the Cobra Commander's clones. In moments, we were all there, past the iron gates and up the twisting driveway as Clutch drove the personnel carrier to the doors of the Cloning Institute. And in a flash, we were doing battle with an army of Cobra Commandos. Probably would have been a great hassle to anybody else, but of course, we're G.I. Joes. Once inside, we found the real Hawk, and Zap and Short Fuse blasted walls out of our way until we located the giant laboratory filled with half-finished robots, tables with only human-like arms and legs and wires and buttons everywhere. And then, up ahead, a very open doorway leading to a very noisy heliport, where I ran up the stairs just in time to see the Cobra Commander, the Baroness, and Destro all escaping in a chopper. And who was left to fight with us? You guessed it. We were fighting our own clones. Snake Eyes, is that you? Or is that the clone? Look out, Zap. Or is that Zap? Steeler, no, look out behind you. But is that Steeler? Everywhere, Joes battling Joes. The picture was unbelievable. It was creepy seeing Rock and Roll in a battle with himself. And as for Snake Eyes, for a minute, I thought he was dead. But it was just his clone. I don't think my clone was as good looking as me anyway. In a few minutes, the real G.I. Joes were obvious as all of the robot clones began to lose energy and slow down. It turned into an easy win. Oh, I know the Cobra Commander escaped, but we really took care of that institute, and we'll catch him and his friends the next time. Don't worry, that's what we're here for. After all, we're the G.I. Joes. So long, everybody.
So that was G.I. Joe, a real American hero, Challenge of the Clones from 1984. Now, I used to watch the G.I. Joe all the time in the 80s. And then I watched it when I did repeats in the 90s. And if you saw my video collection video I did of my G.I. Joe collection, you see that I bought the show. So please like and subscribe, share and comment, and have a groovy day. And our next book will be... Got 2 minutes. Pound Puppies and Fun from A to Z.